Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, aka DFS Dudes, and we're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around for Monday, November 12th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This week, I'll watch all of our NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. And if you're new to this channel, please make sure, like I said, click the subscribe button. So, hey, how you doing out there, Jeremy?
Yo, what's up, man? Ready to get in this NBA video? Good weekend NFL. Let's kick the NBA off.
Yeah, definitely. So, hey, if you haven't already, make sure to go check out the website, dfscheatsheet.com. Hey, man, the one thing I just really quickly want to say, the optimizer has been on absolute fire. NFL and NBA been doing very well. Had a member that came in second place in the 25-cent GPP tonight on NBA. So, like I said, man, hey, check it out, dfscheatsheet.com. So yeah, man, I had a long day. I'm ready just to kind of scoot through these games real quick. If you're ready to go, I mean, we could just get into this.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Yeah, really quick before we do, if you don't mind, please take that quick second, click the like button for me down below. Helps me out a lot. I really appreciate you guys doing that. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first game we'll talk about is going to be Orlando going into Washington to face the Wizards. The Wizards are all over the place right now. I don't know what to think about the Wizards. Period. Point blank. This game, we don't have a Vegas line or over and under yet. We're still a little bit, early, into tonight. But yeah, get us started with that Orlando side of things.
Hey, bro, one quick thing before we get into it. We have not had it. We haven't been on since the big Jimmy Butler trade.
Right.
Jimmy Butler, he gone, right?
Right. Orlando side of things.
So that's kind of relevant because I think the next shoe that drops is somebody's going to be traded out of Washington. They're kind of a mess. The relevant players for me in this game are really on the Orlando side are really just Vucevic and Evan Fournier. But if Aaron Gordon doesn't play, then you have to play Jarrell Martin at $3,500. The guy got 27 or 28 fantasy points tonight, starting and filling in for Aaron Gordon. So if Aaron Gordon's a no-go tomorrow, that's the news to watch on. Jarrell Martin at 3,500 will be an elite play in that one. So Vucevic, these guys just played a couple days ago, and Vucevic had a decent game. 46.3 fantasy points at an 8.5 price tag. That's value all day long. It's almost tournament value. So the upside is definitely there. And Fournier, Fournier, this guy he's like a Goran Dragic, right? I mean, this dude's always going to stay between that 22 and 30 fantasy points, 31.8 in the last meeting. So these are the two dudes for me that are relevant in this one. Terrence Ross's price is getting a little bit too high, but Jarrell Martin at 3,500 if Gordon doesn't go is a premier play. And you could also mention the guy, the backup center, Mohamed Bamba. This guy got some run tonight too. Played about 18 minutes with Aaron Gordon being out, but his price he's not an elite pump play like Jarrell Martin is. So those are the guys that are relevant for me on this side.
Yeah, and then I mean on the Washington side of things, I'm really only looking at a couple guys. I mean, obviously, even though they've been playing very bad, you got John Wall. He's been playing well. The past 4 games, he's got you at least 45 fantasy points. He's playing a ton of minutes right now, so he's a guy that has been pretty solid, even though they're going through a rough stretch. You can also look at the guard. Bradley Beal as well. Bradley Beal, he's been, pretty consistent as well. Besides last game, we only got 24 fantasy points. But for me, Bradley Beal and John Wall are strictly GPP plays. And outside that, Otto Porter 6,000. You could consider him. It's a very good price tag for him, but his minutes are just up and down, and that's really where I'm at. I'm not gonna, look at no Dwight Howard. I'm not gonna look at Marquise Morris. So for me, John Wall, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, and that's it for me. I'm ready to move on.
Moving on.
Cool. Moving on. We're gonna go to New Orleans, going into Toronto to face the Raptors. This game doesn't have a total yet, neither. So get us started with the Pelican side of things.
Yeah, man. So Drew Holiday is a guy that always has played well in Toronto, but he's a guy I'm going to avoid tomorrow. I'm going to completely fade him. Kawhi Leonard treatment. The only player on this New Orleans side for me that I'm really interested in tomorrow is Davis, because I don't feel that they have anybody that can actually play with Anthony Davis. And I know 12-2 is a pretty hefty price tag, but it's a good spot to be contrarian. Other than that, I mean, you can kind of roll through here. I know Elfrid Payton is questionable, but this Toronto team is really good defensively, and I just don't see what the prices of, Drew Holiday at 8,600, and then you take a look at Mirotic, he's questionable. That would bring Etuan more into the fold, but still, this perimeter defense of Anunoby and Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry they're playing at a very high level. So to me, the mismatch in this game on this side is Anthony Davis, and that's really the number one guy I'm looking to target on the New Orleans side.
Yeah, and then I mean on the Toronto side of things, I think you just have to look at their dudes. You got Kyle Lowry, still under 9,000. The guy's been playing very well on the season. He's been very consistent for the most part. Past 2 games has been kind of, pretty much. I mean, last game with New York, it was just a blowout, and he didn't have to play the minutes. Sacramento, he just didn't shoot the best. But overall, he's been playing well on the season. I think Lowry's a solid GPP play. I definitely like Lowry more, though, if, Kawhi Leonard has to sit out for rest or, the things that they've been doing with him, then I would like him a little bit more. Kawhi Leonard, he's back under 10,000. Definitely got to like him, 9,400. Good price tag. Thing about him is, he hasn't been having the monster games. He's really only had one monster game, and I think it has a lot to do with, honestly, they're just whooping everybody's ass, and these guys are not really having to play much of the fourth quarter. They're playing, low 30 minutes compared to if it was a competitive game, then they would play a little bit more minutes. So I like Lowry, I like Leonard, and then the only other 2 guys I definitely think you got to look at. You mentioned it. Who are they really going to be able to put on Anthony Davis? And I think the best 2 guys they got are Siakam and Ibaka. Both of those guys are long, lengthy. So I mean, I'm not saying they're going to stop Anthony Davis, but they're going to need these guys in the game. And both of these guys have been, getting some solid minutes. They've been doing, not too bad. So I like Siakam and Ibaka as well. This guy Siakam, I mean, he's definitely starting to get, right around 30 minutes a game, and he does a little bit of everything, and he's scoring the ball well as well. That's what I'm really liking about this guy, Siakam. And you got Ibaka. His price tag crept up a little bit, and his minutes are not really where you want to be, but he's taking advantage. When he's on the floor, he's taking care of business. We know this guy gets blocks, he gets steals, scoring the ball pretty well. I really like the move for Ibaka going to center. I think it's definitely been helping him out. For me, it's Lowry, Leonard if he plays, and then you got Siakam and Ibaka, and that's about it for me.
Yeah, moving on.
Cool. Next game we're going to go to, it's going to be Philadelphia going into Miami to face the Heat. This game has a 223 implied total, and Miami's favored by 1 in this one.
So right away, the place you have to look is obviously, for whatever reason, we're still getting from our data provider, Dario Saric and Robert Covington on this team. I think it's because I read that they haven't made this trade official. They were taking physicals yesterday, and they haven't even told the league office hasn't made it official. So officially, these guys are still on Philadelphia's team until this trade goes through, but the trade's done. So having said that, that's the first thing to point out is that this rotation gets tighter because they don't have Covington, they don't have Saric, and they don't have Jared Bayless. So that brings TJ McConnell into the fold as a value play at 3,900. He'll play extended minutes. And then this dude Landry Shamet at $3,600 is a really good play as well. He played a lot of minutes for them on Friday night in that overtime win against Charlotte. And then this other young kid, Jonah Bolden, he's another guy that you can look at as a value play tomorrow too. He should get run in the rotation. Played a few minutes on Friday night and played a few minutes on Saturday in the back-to-back against Memphis. Stats out because it's just a grind down game, and people have to play kind of a different style basketball when they play against Memphis. So, but those are 2 guys to definitely mention. The third guy that benefits from this is obviously Markelle Fultz. He'll get some extended run as well. Really, you can look to play Embiid, Simmons, Redick, Fultz, Shamet, McConnell, and then maybe Jonah Bolden. Just because The one guy to really watch, though, is Wilson Chandler. If he's going to play tomorrow and there's news that he's going to get more than 15 minutes, like if they say that Wilson Chandler is going to be bumped up to 20 or 22 minutes tomorrow because the rotation is short, he's an elite play, not even a pump play. He's just an elite play at 3,500. The other night, on Friday night, he did play 15 minutes. I believe he's played 15 minutes in each of the last two games. He actually played 16 minutes against Charlotte. So he played 16 minutes and had 17.5 fantasy points. So he's just over a point per minute, fantasy point per minute. If they say he's bumped and he can now play 20 minutes because they ruled him out for rest against Memphis, he's also an elite play tomorrow for a value play as well. So that's where you can look on the news for Wilson Chandler if he's getting a minutes extension. Other than that, you know, they've got to play big minutes with Simmons, Embiid, Redick, Fultz. That's really, you know, those four guys are going to play a lot of minutes, and the rotation's tight. So that you know, they're a good place tomorrow. And it's worth noting that Embiid's price went from, I think it was 12,000 on Friday, wasn't he? 12,100.
No, he was 11,000.
11.2. So he's down 500. Price drop off of an 79 point game.
Yeah, so I mean, on the Miami side of things, I mean, you look at the obvious guys. First thing first, a guy we always mention, Goran Dragic. He's a guy. I mean, he doesn't do anything special. We know that, but he's consistent. I understand this last game he had a 5.9, so you're laughing at me like, haha, he's talking about he's consistent, but hey, the guy just had a bad game. I mean, it is what it is. Under 6,000 for Dragic, a guy that's very consistent. We know that when he's healthy, he's going to get a ton of minutes. You know, they need this guy to score the ball as well. He's averaging 29 fantasy points on the season. 5'9". If he gets you that 29 fantasy points, you get your 5 times value, and you move on. And we know this guy has 40 fantasy point upside, so I think it starts with Goran Dragic. I really like him tomorrow going against Philly. And then, I mean, after that, it's like they got a lot of guys. You got Tyler Johnson getting some minutes. A guy I really do like is Magruder, 5,000. He's a guy that they've shown they want to play him, you know, around 33, 34 minutes a game. Getting a ton of minutes, been, you know, pretty consistent for the most part. Need 25 for him to hit value. I think Magruder's a great play. Josh Richardson, I mean, honestly, he's the best player on their team right now. I mean, it is what it is. He's their you know, he's pretty much their leading scorer night in, night out, fills up the stat sheet. The only problem with Richardson for me is the price tag is up, so I definitely think he's strictly GPP. But Richardson is in play. And then lastly, it's like, you know, what are we going to do with Whiteside? I always say my rule is I really don't like playing two good big guys against each other because one of them is going to get in foul trouble. And day in and day out, it happens. And that's just kind of my rule. So I don't know how I feel about Whiteside. One thing about Whiteside I do want to note, though, is he's had 3 really big games in a row, monster games, 73 fantasy points, 40.5, 45 fantasy points. He's actually getting 33, 34 minutes a game. But it's going to be a tough task to guard Embiid, and I honestly think Whiteside probably gets in foul trouble tomorrow. So at a 9,500 price tag, he's strictly GPP. I would prefer to try, if I was going to have to go between Joel Embiid or Whiteside, I would probably try to find the extra 1,200 and go with Joel Embiid. But yeah, Whiteside strictly GPP. Cool.
And yeah, moving on.
Miss somebody? No, we good. Okay.
No.
So next game, we're going to look at Utah going into Memphis to face the Grizzlies. This game has a 205.5 implied total, and Utah's favored by 3 in this one.
Ricky Rubio is currently questionable, I believe. I just saw a tweet on that he's been marked as questionable for tomorrow with his back. So if that's the case, Shelvin Mack is a guy to look at 4,200. Have you noticed this in the last couple of days? I know I was bitching to you about it in a text, but FanDuel's pricing is jacked up. I don't know what they're basing their models off of, but was it just did everybody else catch it? Terry Rozier was 4,000 on Friday and he was 6,200 on Saturday. Like, he scored 17 fantasy points on Friday night and he went to 6,200 on Saturday. And then I'm looking at Embiid's pricing. He goes from 11-2, gets 72 points on a back-to-back, goes to Memphis, and he's 10-8, and then drops to 10-7. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to their pricing. I don't understand. Are you noticing that?
Yeah, I think like the reason that B dropped a little bit was just because he has a tough matchup against Whiteside. Um, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying though for sure.
So Shelvin Mack is 4,200 for whatever reason. They're anticipating Ricky Rubio doesn't play. They bumped Shelvin Mack to 4,200. I get that he got 31 minutes Friday night, but $700 increase for a guy who's a bench player is kind of crazy. And then you take a look at Quinn Cook. I'll getting ahead of myself, but the guy's only 5,400, I believe. And he went off in his role, and we know Steph Curry's out. So I don't know what's up with pricing, but you have to pay attention to pricing. Just don't pay for guys in spots. Make sure you pay attention to pricing. Jay Crowder, I will continue to play Jay Crowder. That's him and Joe Ingles, I think, are very fair price, 6,000 and 5,400. If Ricky Rubio for some reason doesn't play, Joe Ingles will be one of my favorite plays tomorrow night. I don't care who the matchup is. Boston's also a grind down team, and this dude had like 40 fantasy points in the first half, Joe Ingles. Jay Crowder continues to do what Jay Crowder does. He's a gritty player. He's a really good small forward number 2. He's a really good small forward number 2 at 5,400. Perfect mid-tier play. The guy fills up the stat sheet in all categories. He gets you rebounds. He can knock down the three. He can get in the post. He'll get you steals because he's long. He'll dive on the floor for loose balls. This dude's a good player at $5,400. Is a really good value play as well, mid-tier play. And other than that, I'm not looking to play Gobert against Gasol. Again, there's your rule of 2 big guys. 8,700 is too much to pay for Gobert, in my opinion. And Derek Favors is not doing enough at 5,100 for me to want to play him consistently. You could take a tournament flyer on him if you wanted to, but that's really it for me. I'm going to look to see if injury news on Ricky Rubio, and then Joe Ingles, Jay Crowder. That's like 1 and 2 on this team, and then 3 would be Shelvin Mack.
Yeah. So I mean, bro, does my rule, like when it's 2 really good centers go against each other, does that make sense though?
I think it depends on who they are, right? Like when you're talking about Andre Drummond in the matchup with another big center, or a Hassan Whiteside in a matchup with another big center, I think that's a great rule, because those are Drummond and Whiteside are 2 guys that just get in foul trouble against everybody all the time.
And it's funny because I bring up that rule, and then sure enough, bro, like it'll happen, and then people will like DM me like, "Hey, you were right. That does happen." Like it always happens, bro. So now I'm just like, I just made it a rule. It is what it is.
I think there's certain big guys though you can attack. Like Vucevic is a guy you can attack and not be worried about. Right. You can attack Karl Anthony Towns and not be worried about it. There's certain centers with other big guys you can attack. Hassan Whiteside on the road, for sure, you can attack Hassan Whiteside on the road because he gets in foul trouble on the road. You can look at his splits.
But like
at home, I'm not sure.
Like another guy, for example, I mean, I don't want to get off track, but like Cantor, I never like taking centers against Enes Kanter because he just bangs. He just bangs and
right.
He creates that contact,
Right.
So yeah, so on the Memphis side of things, I mean, you pretty much just go with their main guys. You got Mike Conley coming off the monster game against Philadelphia, 51 fantasy points. You can't expect him to do this again tomorrow, so don't think that he's going to do this. But I mean, I definitely think he can have a solid game. Whether Rubio's in there or Rubio's not in there, if it's Mac, either one of those dudes are not the best defenders. Mike Conley, they need this guy to score the ball. They need this guy to have good games if they're going to win games as a team. He's their leader. So I definitely think you could look at Mike Conley for GPP. And then, I mean, really, it's just you look at the rookie. This guy, he had an off game yesterday, but, he's a good player. He's shown us upside. Jaren Jackson, he's been playing about 30 minutes a game. And, last game, like I said, yesterday, didn't have the best game. But the 2 previous games, he showed us upside, 37 fantasy points, 33 fantasy points. For me, a rookie, he's inconsistent, so he's going to be a GPP play. I think all these Memphis guys are GPP plays. But, yeah, no, so I'm going to look at Mike Conley. I'm going to look at the rookie a little bit in a couple lineups. And lastly, you just go to Gasol. Their other best player, 8,500. They're going to need him on the floor to, be going against Gobert. And I understand it's the big guy against big guy rule. So it's something that you want to think about. But in Marc Gasol's case, I'm not too scared of it because he's a very smart player. I mean, if you look the past 2 games he went against Embiid, he went against Jokic, and he did fine, no foul trouble. He went against Gobert, 5 games ago, and he got us 47 fantasy points. So he's showing us some upside. So I actually like Marc Gasol on this spot against Gobert. I think this is a solid spot for him. But yeah, I mean that's really where I'm at. It's just Mike Conley. Look at the rookie Jaren Jackson, Marc Gasol, and I'm ready to move on.
Cool. Yeah, move on, man.
Cool. Next game we're gonna go with is gonna be Phoenix going into OKC to face the Thunder. This game we don't have a line on it yet. So get us started with the Phoenix side of things.
There's a couple spots you can go here. Obviously, Devin Booker first and foremost, $7,500. A couple of down games here, but his price also is decreased by 600. He's down to 7,500. I think this is a game where he can get you value. He can get you 35 to 42 points and get you value in this one. There's no Russell Westbrook in this game, at least as of now. That could change. But, Booker, he's going to get on track. We talk about it all the time. It's a law of averages, and this guy's a shooter. He's not afraid to put it up. He's still getting the shot attempts. He's just not been real consistent. And the problem with Booker is always going to be right here in this category right here, turnovers, right? This is always going to be your problem with him. So when he's not knocking down shots and he's turning the ball over, you're going to get fantasy lines right here at 23.7. But you can see the minutes are very consistent, 34, 42, 36, 34, 35. So I like this guy at 7,500 quite a bit in this matchup. There should be quite a bit of points scored in this game. Also, small forward position. TJ Warren, $5,800. Couple back-to-back really big games, 42.9 and 39.5. Minutes are starting to tick up, as you can see, 41 and 36 in each of the last 2 minutes. But there is no reason that anyone can justify why this dude started on the bench and why he had a diminished role when he had such a solid season last year. I think that they finally just broke the barrier, and now TJ Warren is going to start getting his minutes. You can also look to play Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza is still a really good defensive player. This is a kind of a Trevor Ariza game going against a guy like Paul George. You can see his minutes are still there. He's still playing up. This is what he's always played for his career, 35-plus minutes every single night. This guy fills up the stat sheet in every single category. Outside of that, the only other play, DeAndre Ayton down to $7,100. If you look at this guy's game log is 5x with this price. They're at 5x. He can get you 5x. This is a good cash game, safe play tomorrow. DeAndre Ayton at 7,100. He doesn't have. He only has, I think, 1 game or 2 games where he hasn't gotten you at least 31 fantasy points. So this guy can knock down value all day long at 7,100. So there's some good plays here on the Phoenix side in a game that should go up and have a lot of possessions in it. Ayton, Ariza you can look at, but really Ayton, TJ Warren, and Devin Booker, all very fair price for their recent performances.
Yeah, then on the OKC side of things, there's 4 guys I'm really liking. Obviously, you mentioned it, no Russell Westbrook, so you go right back to the well with Schroeder. He takes over the point guard spot. He's playing his 32, 33 minutes a game. They need this guy to score. He gets you some steals, and he's just a very consistent player, and they need him to really take care of business. So I definitely think that this is a really good spot for Dennis Schroeder. Phoenix doesn't have no big time point guard that can guard him or anything. You have Cannon, and they have like another small dude, I think, that come in. I definitely think this is a game that Schroeder can have a really good game. He's the first guy I'm going to look at. Massive usage rate as well with no Westbrook. And then you go, you want to talk about usage. You go right to Paul George. Paul George with no Westbrook. The guy's just been on fire, taking care of business, has the ball in his hands a lot more. He's not even really coming off the floor. So you really got to like what Paul George does with no Westbrook. The thing about it is, though, is the price tag is really up now. Now, but just for value, you need about 51, 52. And so it's like, does he really have 60, 65 fantasy point upside? Of course he does. He does. But has he shown that to us recently? No. So for me, I think you can look at Paul George. I just don't like the price. I think he's a little bit more of a GPP play on this slate. I really like Schroeder's price. I think that you can really lock him into your cash games. And then you got Steven Adams. The guy just been on absolute fire, taking care of business, playing a ton of minutes. He usually plays 32, 33 minutes a game, pretty much bare minimum usually. And, they've shown him that he has played 36, 37 minutes when they need him to. He picks up the scoring low with no Westbrook as well. The guy's just a double-double machine that's been playing very well. I like Adams. I think he's going to bully the young guy in Ayton. I mean, the Ayton's good, don't get me wrong. But Adams he's just a monster, bro. He just pushes everybody out the way. So, my top three plays on the Thunder side is going to be Schroeder. It's going to be Paul George. It's going to be Adams. And then lastly, the guy that I think you can look at, if you need a guy, power forward's kind of is Jeremiah Grant. The guy's getting his. He's getting his minutes for the most part, playing about 30 minutes a game. And he doesn't do anything special, but he's been scoring double digits every night. Does a little bit of everything in a stat sheet, plays defense, gets you some blocks, some steals. So I think Jeremiah Grant is a relevant player in this spot as well, going against the young Suns team. And outside of those four guys, I'm not really going to be looking at none of the other guys.
Hey, one thing that you have to know about tomorrow is this. There's three guys at small forward to pay up for. There's Durant at 11.3, there's Paul George at 10.3, and then there's Kawhi at 9,700. With that on the slate and those guys and the spots they're in, no Russell Westbrook, so that boosts Paul George. No Steph Curry, possibly no Draymond Green, so that boosts Kevin Durant. And then Kawhi playing with, we don't even know. The Toronto's on a back-to-back. Kawhi may not even play tomorrow. So just talk about George and Durant. If you get that play, if you play one of those two guys tomorrow and you get it wrong, it'll cost you. That's just how tomorrow's slate's shaping out. Because of the two guys in the same spot and such a price difference between the two, Durant's got a better chance to hit value than Paul George does, and it makes Paul George a really tough play for me, at least.
Yeah. So moving on to the next game, bro. We're gonna move on to Dallas going into Chicago to face the Bulls. This game we don't have a Vegas total or a over and under yet, but get us started with the Dallas side of things.
Dennis Smith, I'm gonna make it really easy for you. Couple of plays and that's it. Dennis Smith Jr. They have one of the top 3 DVP matchups tomorrow at the shooting guard or the point guard position. And Dennis Smith Jr., I know the guy's been inconsistent. I know he has. But in games where he has good matchups, San Antonio's weak against point guards, Washington's weak against point guards. 33.3 against Washington, 29.2 against San Antonio, a $6,000 price tag. This is a place where this guy can get you 6X. He can get you tournament upside. So I do like Dennis Smith Jr. against Chicago. Chicago's putting a lot of points on the board. They're just not beating a lot of people, right? Wesley Matthews, I'm not really interested in this one. We're going to keep playing this role with Doncic where every single day is going to be questionable on every slate he's on. So that's obviously something you have to look out for. A little bit of a price decrease as well. But Harrison Barnes is a guy I like a lot in this one at 5,500. This is a Harrison Barnes type of game. Chicago against small forwards. They are 25th in fantasy points against that position. So Harrison Barnes at 5,500, I like him, and that's really it. I mean, that's really it. You can play DeAndre Jordan. You can play him at 7,600. I know we keep attacking. We like to attack centers against Chicago. So DeAndre Jordan has, we can say it 100 times, but y'all know what you get with DeAndre Jordan. He's got the possibility to get you 10 to 15 points and 20 to 22 rebounds in this game. He could have a monster game in this one at 7,600. It's such a vanilla, boring. Do I really want to spend $7,600 on DeAndre Jordan? It's like an Eeyore pick. I'm not excited to play it, but he's a good play in this spot against this team who has no answer for the center position.
Yeah, then on the Chicago side of things, I'm gonna make it short and sweet. Zach LaVine. I'm ready to move on right after that. This guy, he's playing like an all-star. It is what it is. And I think he's going to be an all-star this year if he continues doing what he does. Looks like he's fully healthy, coming off the knee injury. The guy's just been playing very, very well. And he's really continuing to impress me. My thing with Zach LaVine is I just want to know if he can really keep this up all season. But right now, the guy's on fire, averaging about 25 real-life points a game. He's getting rebounds, getting assists. He's doing a lot. He has a very, very high usage rate. The price tag is up a little bit, so for me, he's a little bit more of a GPP play. But I really like Zach LaVine in this spot, and then I'm not going to look anywhere else. I mean, I know you like your boy Wendell Carter, but his price tag is just up there right now, 8,000. You need just 40 for value. I don't really like that price tag. So I mean, I'm ready to move on to the next game.
Keep it pushing.
Cool. Next game we're gonna look at, it's gonna be Brooklyn, the Nets going into Minnesota to face the Timberwolves with no Jimmy Butler. Yeah, bro, get us going.
Just saw news that Karis LeVert is questionable in this one. If Karis LeVert does not play in this game, Spencer Dinwiddie will probably be a staple for me in a high exposure rate in my tournament play tomorrow. The guy's been very solid lately, very solid. 5,200 price tag. You can just see he keeps knocking down 5X easily. 24.2, 28.5, 30.2, 25.4 can get you cash value at 5,200 easily. Especially he'll get it with the boost he'll get if there's no Karis LeVert tomorrow if he's unable to go. D'Angelo Russell, I'm not ready to play him yet. I'm just not. He's going to go off in one of these spots because $6,200 is really cheap for him. But I can't get there because there's other guys at this price that I'm more comfortable playing with. So I'm not looking to play Russell tomorrow night. And that's really it, man. I mean, you can take some, the Ed Davis if you want to punt there. That's fine. You could talk about playing Jared Allen. Jared Allen's too cheap at 5,900. Karl Anthony Towns, we all know he's not a guy who's going to get in there and bang around. He's going to look to play in the perimeter. He's not a really non-confrontational guy. But here's the deal. I'm not looking to play Jared Allen tomorrow because we're going to see the benefit of Jimmy Butler being gone. Karl Anthony Towns is going to have the weight of the world off of his shoulder, and I look for him to go play free tomorrow. So I'm not looking to play Jared Allen at all in this one. I think you'll have a tough time against a rejuvenated Karl Anthony Towns. So for me, I'm watching injury news on LeVert. I like LeVert if he plays too because he's their true scorer. The guy's a really good ball handler and a true scorer. So that's it for me.
Yeah, so I mean, on the Minnesota side of things, you touched on it. Tomorrow, mark my words, Anthony Towns is going to have a monster game tomorrow. It's like you said, boom, Butler's gone. Got this motherfucker out of my locker room. I never have to look at this dude again. Cool. My team. I'm going to take care of business. I really like Towns tomorrow. And then he gets a matchup going against Brooklyn. You got the guy Allen, who honestly, Towns is going to eat him up. I mean, it is what it is. I like sinners going against Brooklyn. I have been doing that all season. So Towns is in a monster spot right here. I love Towns tomorrow. Like you said, rejuvenated for sure. Power forward. I mean, you can look at Taj Gibson. You mentioned him the other night. He's 5,300. He's a guy that's not going to do anything special for you, but he's very consistent. He's going to get his, close to 30 minutes a game usually, always get you close to a double-double. And, I mean, he's just not going to hurt you. He's going to get you close to 5X so you move on and you feel comfortable with the play. So I like Taj Gibson. Wiggins is questionable right now with a quad injury. So we got to keep an eye on this news. If Wiggins is out, then you got to look at the guy – what's his name? Okogie. Yeah, Okogie. So that's some news that you do want to kind of keep an eye on. But if Wiggins plays tomorrow and they say he's going to play his regular allotment of minutes, I think Wiggins is in a really good spot as well. Just like Towns was having the problems with Butler, Wiggins was having the problems as well. So, this kind of applies for him as well. He's going to be cool, man. Now it's Towns is back to our team, and we're going to take care of business. So Wiggins would be in play tomorrow, so just keep an eye on that news. And then lastly, I mean, you got Derrick Rose, the guy, the price tag keeps going up, but he keeps crushing value night in and night out. This guy's looking like the old Derrick Rose. And bro, I would love for this guy to keep it up. I like, good stories. People, he comes back and, it would be cool if he took over to start a point guard job and they could definitely use his scoring with no Butler. So I definitely think Rose is still 6.9, very fair price tag still. Somebody that you could just lock into your cash games. And then, lastly, you can look at Tyus Jones. I mean, I like the guy. It's just all about minutes with him. If he's going to get minutes, he usually produces for the most part. But they sometimes give him minutes, sometimes they don't. So just keep an eye on injury news and some, not even injury news as well, like, rotation news on anything with Minnesota. We're kind of like left in the dark right now because Jimmy Butler got traded. They haven't got. Hey, do you think so? I know that Covington's going to go straight into the starting lineup and be the starting small forward for Minnesota. But do you think that they're going to start Sark over Gibson, or you think the Sark comes off the bench?
Sarge is going to play, and
Yeah,
you saw that. So I'll hit a couple things for you. Right, number one, the questionable tag on Wiggins is bullshit, and the reason it's bullshit is he was scratched 45 minutes before that game tipped off on Saturday, and that was not even before they took that was before they even took the floor for their pregame for him to go run around and see if he was even hurt. What I can almost guarantee what happened in hindsight that Jimmy Butler got traded on Saturday. They were talking about moving Wiggins out of there. That's the guy they were looking to trade was Wiggins because Thibodeau has a love affair with Jimmy Butler. So the
right.
Wiggins was the guy they're going to trade. So tomorrow, the two guys I love are Wiggins and Towns because I think they're going to play free, like you said. And Wiggins got something to prove too. Like, oh, you want to trade me? Let me show you what I can do. The Sarge deal, they don't have a floor spacer at all. With now that Jimmy Butler's gone, Wiggins is not. He's an isolation player. He's not. He can create his shot when he needs to. But the thing that this team has been hurting is, and the thing that Philadelphia just lost was the guy who can stand outside and knock threes down, and that's Sarge, man. Sarge, I think Sarge starts. And you've already kind of seen it with Anthony Tolliver getting an increase in minutes. I don't know what the deal is with Gibson, but his minutes are going down a little bit. He didn't even play in the majority of the fourth quarter on Saturday against Sacramento. Anthony Tolliver played and got 19 minutes. So I think Sarge is the guy that comes in and plays.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the next game. Next game we're going to talk about is going to be the San Antonio Spurs going into Sacramento to face the Kings. This game has a 218 implied total, and San Antonio is favored by 3 in this one.
I really wish I had the San Antonio side because they're so much more interesting than San Antonio is. But all I can tell you is play DeMar DeRozan. This is going to be a fast-paced game. He's their scorer. Sacramento's not having any problem scoring on people right now. This team is, I believe, 6-6 or 7-5. Very good. They're a very good young team. So DeMar DeRozan, worth every bit of 9,100 tomorrow, in my opinion. You can look to play a guy like Marco Benetti if you want value. A little narrative there too. And then, Rudy Gay coming back from a heel injury at 6,400. There's the narrative, all the narrative you need in the world with Rudy Gay going back to Sacramento. The last time I believe he played in a Sacramento Kings uniform, he blew his Achilles tendon and didn't come. I mean, he was done for the season. So Rudy Gay back in Sacramento, $6,400 is a very fair price for Rudy Gay who can score the basketball, and that's really it. Rudy Gay. I don't like Aldridge that much in this spot. I have a hard time paying for Aldridge when he gets over $8,000 because he's like a 35-point guy, and then every once in a while he has a 50-point monster game. So you either have to love him and play him every single night, and then be the beneficiary when he goes off, or just kind of avoid the guy. Me, I choose to avoid him. If I lose a tournament because I didn't have LaMarcus Aldridge, then so be it. But he's not a guy that I'm going to look to play tomorrow. Just Rudy Gay, narrative play, and DeMar DeRozan to score the basketball.
Yeah, so I mean, on the Sacramento side of things, you said that you wish you had them. To be honest, I'm not very excited about Sacramento. I mean, they are playing very well. You touched on that, and I definitely will get you that. But the fact that they are playing well, all these guys are priced up. I mean, I like De'Aaron Fox, and the guy's been playing out of his mind. I understand. I just can't pay 8.3 for De'Aaron Fox. It's just something that I can't do. Like me, just thinking about paying 8.3 for De'Aaron Fox going against a Spurs team, it just gives me a knot in my stomach. I mean, just overpriced. So the GPP, I think he's going to be low owned, but he's not somebody I'm really, really going to be looking to kind of fit my lineup. Buddy Hield, he's been playing pretty well. He's definitely a GPP play. 7.3, the price tag's up on him as well. As you can tell, I mean, we're only projecting him to get 4 times value. So I don't know how I feel about that. One guy, though, and you actually mentioned this guy the other night as well, Shumpert. Shumpert's definitely 3.9. I mean, he's under 4,000 if we're looking for a punt play. Somebody, he can knock down some shots. He gets you some defensive stats. I mean, I'm not really like, oh my God, I'm going to put Shumpert in my lineup, but a guy that's, playing 27, 28 minutes a game at a 3.9, and I just need him to get me 20. Definitely think that you can look at him as a possible punt play on tomorrow's slate. Bajalica, no thank you. Bagley, no thank you. And then Cauley Stein, the guy definitely has, 40, 50 fantasy point upside. We've seen it in the past. We've seen it this year. It's all about minutes with this guy, but this guy definitely can have a monster game. A lot of the big guys on San Antonio are hurt right now, and that's one thing I do want to note. So I definitely think this is a spot that Cauley Stein could have a good game, but that's really all for me. I mean, you can look, like I said, Fox for GPP, Stein for GPP, Shumpert's kind of borderline, and that's really where I'm at.
If you want to play a pump play tomorrow night in this game, I don't think it's Shumpert. I think it's Costa Kufos. That's the guy that I'd play as a pump play. This guy, look, call me crazy, but I'm often right when I talk about these pump plays, right? Costa Kufos is a guy that can get you a double-double tomorrow in 18 minutes if Willie Cauley-Stein struggles with LaMarcus Aldridge, and we know Aldridge will play the center spot. So I like the Sacramento team. I watched them quite a bit so far this season. They're exciting. De'Aaron Fox is doing crazy stuff. I mean, the guy's getting a double-double consistently. It's just what categories are going to do it in, points and rebounds or points and assists or just rebounds and assists. He's playing extremely well, and his usage rate's really high. So I like, and this is not, talk about San Antonio. It's not like talking about, it's like Utah. They're not the same defensive team they used to be. Memphis still grinded out, but they don't have the players they used to have. San Antonio is not the Spurs. I mean, like you said, they have no big guys besides Aldridge. They don't have wing players. They don't have point guards. They don't have a Tony Parker who's going to lock somebody down. They got Patty Mills and Brian Forbes, these other guys. So I think this game will have a lot of points in it, and I think the Sacramento plays are very interesting tomorrow.
Yeah, so moving to the last game, we're going to look at Golden State Warriors. They are going into Los Angeles to face the Clippers. Obviously, we're waiting on a bunch of injury news, mainly on the Warriors side of things. So, I mean, you got lucky and you got the good side. So get us started with that.
So Steph Curry is out, and he's going to be out for an extended period of time. So you have to look to Quinn Cook right off the bat. So in the Milwaukee game, Quinn Cook's the beneficiary of Steph Curry leaving that one early. He gets 20.9 fantasy points, and then he comes right out, and he gets 40 against Brooklyn. Again, pricing, I have no idea how they figure this out. You take a look at a Terry Rozier who puts up 17 at 4,000. Back-to-back games, his price goes to 6,200. Quinn Cook puts up 40, and his price is 5,400. This is a very fair price. Quinn Cook deserves to be probably the highest-owned point guard on the slate tomorrow in a very good matchup. I know Beverly is a very good defensive point guard, but this is a pace-up game for everybody, and Quinn Cook's going to get shots. The Warriors move the basketball extremely well, so it's not like it's isolation basketball with Quinn Cook being a point guard just manhandling the ball and then Patrick Beverly guarding him in one-on-one situations. I don't think that's going to happen. They move the ball too well. You can look at Clay. He'll pick up some usage as well. He's had some really good games in the past against the Clippers. But basically, you've got to put all these guys in play. You've got to put Quinn Cook in play. You've got to put Klay Thompson in play. And you have to put Kevin Durant in play. Price is 11-3, but he loves to play this. This is a game that he loves to play for whatever reason it is. 54.5 without Steph and without Draymond the other night in only 30 minutes. So, he can definitely get you value. You need 50. So you need 56.5 for cash value. He can get 56.5 tomorrow night, I think, no problem. Draymond, I think, he's questionable at the moment. Does he play? Does he not play? If he does play, you have to believe if he plays, he gets a full complement of minutes. There's no reason at this point to play him if you're not going to give him a full complement of minutes. So he has to be healthy enough to get that. So if he plays, it's a good spot for him as well, playing against the likes of Montrezl Harrell and Boban Marjanovic and Marshawn Gortat, whatever Doc Rivers feels he wants to roll out on that night. And that's the places to look. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this dude, Alfonso McKinney. at 3,700. And the reason I want to mention him is the 10.4. In a popular spot, 10.4, he duds out. The important thing to look at is the 27 minutes he got, right? And if Draymond is out, so they're without the, two of their big five. If Draymond is out, you have to go right back to this dude McKinney. You have to, because people will fall off of him because they tried him out and they put him in there in a popular spot when everybody was talking about him and he dudded. And the first thing people do, recency bias, they jump off. So I'll go right back to Alfonso McKinney if Draymond is out. It's a perfect spot for him to get, again, another 25 to 27, 28 minutes, depending on how close the game is. And you have to always mention Kevin Looney as well, especially in this spot, just because of the fact that with or without Draymond, the guy gets minutes. His minutes were down in the Brooklyn game. But other than that, the guy's playing between 15 and 19 minutes, and he's constantly coming close to value every single time out. So Kevin Looney is another guy you could play as well. So that's, everybody's in play here. Watch the news on Draymond. I don't think Draymond plays yet. I really don't. They're going on a road trip. I just don't see Draymond coming back tomorrow night.
Yeah, then on the Clipper side of things, I think there's a couple obvious plays. Obviously, we talk about pricing and stuff. Patrick Beverly, he's just there. They don't want to, bump his price tag up at all. 4.8 guys. He's been playing decent recently. I think that he's a guy you can look at. Definitely more of a GPP play for me. He's not a guy that excites me. But, all you need for value is 24. He's averaging 23 on the season. So I definitely think you could look at Beverly. And, it took Doc Rivers, a couple of games to really get to it. But, hey, Doc Rivers is going right back to his well. He's going with Lou Williams. Hey, man, Lou Williams is really starting to pick it up. 6,500. His price tag is going up as he's picking it up. But, look at the guy. He's scored, besides the last game against Milwaukee, 20 points, 28, 26. We're talking about real-life points. The guy in the past two games as well. 32 minutes, 35 minutes. The minutes are starting to get back up. The fantasy numbers, he's starting to get back up in the 30 range. And we know this guy has 50 fantasy point upside. This is going to be a very up-tempo game. The Clippers are going to need scoring. I really, really like Lou Williams in this spot. I think this is a really good spot that Lou Williams could have one of those 50 fantasy point outings. We know that he can do that. He has a couple of those every single year. Up-tempo game against the Warriors. I like Lou Williams a lot. I'm not going to look at Gallinari. Definitely, Tobias Harris, he's been playing very well. He's been very consistent. He's, pretty much our go-to guy. Think about it, it's 8,000 price tag, a little bit more of a GPP play. But he's solid. But then it's, you go to his teammate, Harrell, 6,500. This guy's, quietly having a really, really good season. The minutes are starting to creep up for him, 32, 25, 30, 25. So he's pretty much going to average you 27, 28 minutes a game with 32-minute upside. And he's been, this guy fills up the stat sheet, does a little bit of everything. Back-to-back games, 37 and 36 fantasy points. The fact that he comes off the bench still makes him probably a little bit more of a GPP play. And that's really where I'm at. It's Patrick Beverly, like I said, Lou Williams, and then you got Tobias Harris and Harrell staying away from the center position. And that's it for me on the Clipper side of things.
The best play on the Clipper side is right here, and that's if Avery Bradley's out. Galigius Alexander, 39 minutes and 35 minutes in the past two games, 35.2 and 26.6 at 5,000. This guy will start at the shooting guard. Like you said, you look back to the Orlando game and something clicked with Doc Rivers. He's got different guys playing now, and that's kind of when Avery Bradley went out with the ankle injury. If Avery Bradley's out again tomorrow, to me, this guy's the best play on this Clippers team.
Yeah, I think that's about all I got. You good on this slate? We ready to get up out of here?
Yeah, man.
All right, hey guys. So, hey man, if you haven't already, come check out our website right here, dfschichi.com. We got everything that you need. You see us breaking down a whole entire slate using our tools. We got everything for you. Come check it out, dfschichi.com. Make sure to click that like button on this video. Tomorrow, I will be back with my NBA core plays for the day. Jeremy will be, he'll have his GPP core plays over there on the DFS Cheat Sheet YouTube channel. Make sure and go subscribe over there as well. Thanks for checking out this video. Good luck tomorrow. Peace out.